Opening music fades out, and I welcome listeners in my signature warm tone. Welcome to Nature Walk, the podcast that takes you on a journey through the wonders of the natural world. I'm your host, David, and I'm delighted to have you join me today as we explore some of the most fascinating stories from the world of wildlife conservation. Soothing music continues to play in the background. As we embark on this week's adventure, let's travel to the sun-kissed savannas and grasslands of Africa, where a remarkable story has been unfolding. It's a tale of cultural traditions, wildlife conservation, and the intricate relationships between humans and animals. Pause for emphasis. You see, in many African cultures, carnivores like lions, leopards, and other big cats hold significant symbolic value. Their skins, body parts, and even their musk are used in traditional medicine, rituals, and as status symbols. But as we'll discover today, this cultural demand can have devastating consequences for these majestic creatures. Slightly somber tone, a recent study published in the journal Publish One has shed light on the Pan-African review of cultural uses of carnivores. The research reveals that the scale of cultural demand for these animals is far greater than previously thought, with many species facing significant threats to their survival. Emphasizing the importance, the study's lead author, Maureen Drewley, emphasizes that the intention behind this research is not to vilify cultural practices, but to promote an informed appreciation of their potential impacts on wildlife species. By recognizing the scale of cultural demand, conservationists can design interventions that are more culturally sensitive and locally accepted. Hopeful tone. In fact, experts like Philip Maruthi, Vice President for Species Conservation at the African Wildlife Foundation, believe that this study could be a game-changer in engaging local communities in the protection of carnivores. By working together with cultural-religious groups and co-developing conservation strategies, we can reduce the pressure on key wildcat populations. Smooth transition. As we delve deeper into this story, we'll explore the complexities of balancing cultural traditions with wildlife conservation. We'll also examine the potential solutions that could help mitigate the impacts of cultural demand on these incredible animals. Brief pause. But for now, let's take a moment to appreciate the intricate relationships between humans and wildlife in Africa. The natural world is full of wonders, but it's also facing numerous challenges. As we navigate these complexities, we must remember that our actions have consequences, not just for the environment, but for the very creatures that call our planet home. Soothing music swells. We'll be right back with more fascinating stories from the natural world on Nature Walk. Welcome back to Nature Walk. I hope you're enjoying the scenic route we're taking today. As we continue on our journey, let's talk about capturing the beauty of nature through photography. Whether you're a seasoned pro or just starting out, taking great photos can be a wonderful way to preserve memories and share your experiences with others. Now, I know some of you might be thinking, but David, I don't have a fancy camera. Fear not, my friends. With the advancements in smartphone technology, you can take stunning photos right from your phone. The key is to understand how to use it to its full potential. Let's start with the basics. When taking photos, make sure to clean your lens and adjust your settings accordingly. Play around with exposure compensation to balance out the light and dark areas of your image. And don't be afraid to experiment with different angles and compositions. Remember, rules like the rule of thirds can help guide you in creating visually appealing photos. Now, I'd like to share some tips from a photographer friend of mine, Nathaniel Charpentier. He says that smartphones do almost everything well except scene exposure, which can sometimes result in photos that are too bright. To combat this, he often corrects the exposure of his photos using basic settings on his iPhone. If you want to take your photography to the next level, consider downloading some third-party apps like VS Go, Lightroom Mobile, or Halide Mark II. These apps offer more manual controls, allowing you to adjust settings like shutter speed and ISO, and even shoot in RAW format. But here's the thing, it's not just about the technical aspects of photography. It's also about developing an eye for composition and storytelling. Look for patterns, textures, and colors that can add depth and interest to your photos. Don't be afraid to get creative and try new things, like shooting from unusual angles or using reflections to add symmetry to your images. As we wrap up this segment, I hope you've picked up some tips and inspiration to improve your photography skills. Remember, the most important thing is to have fun and enjoy the process of capturing the beauty of nature. Stay tuned for our final story of the day, right here on Nature Walk. Welcome back to Nature Walk. As we conclude our journey through the fascinating stories of the natural world, I'd like to take you to the Karen Highlands of northern Thailand, where a unique blend of traditional knowledge and modern conservation efforts is unfolding. In this region, the Pegas Kenyao indigenous community has lived in harmony with nature for centuries, cultivating a deep understanding of the land, its rhythms, and its inhabitants. Their traditional farming practices, which involve rotating crops and allowing fallows to regenerate, have created a mosaic of diverse ecosystems that support an astonishing array of plant and animal species. One of the most striking aspects of the Pegas Kenyao approach is their reverence for the natural world, which is deeply rooted in their spiritual beliefs. They believe that every element of nature, from the trees to the rivers, has a sacred significance and deserves respect and care. This worldview has allowed them to maintain a remarkable level of biodiversity in their surroundings, with studies documenting over 365 species of plants in their rotational farm fallows, including 72 herbs used in local medicines. However, as we've seen time and time again, the encroachment of modern society can pose significant threats to these traditional ways of life. Conservation laws, although well-intentioned, can sometimes marginalize indigenous communities, undermining their deep bond with the natural world. It's essential that we recognize the value of traditional knowledge and work to preserve it, rather than trying to impose our own solutions on these communities. Fortunately, there are signs of change on the horizon. Thailand has recently passed its first law to protect indigenous communities, providing recognition of ethnic identities and affirming their fundamental rights as citizens. While there's still much work to be done, this is a significant step towards acknowledging the importance of preserving traditional knowledge and ways of life. As we conclude our journey through the Karen Highlands, I'm reminded that the concept of pristine wilderness without human presence is a flawed construct. Humans have been an integral part of the natural world for centuries, shaping ecosystems and developing unique relationships with the land. By recognizing and respecting these relationships, we can work towards a more inclusive and effective approach to conservation. That's all for today's Nature Walk. Remember to like, share, and subscribe, and until next time, keep exploring your natural world.